Welcome back for another helping of Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. I'm Ross Bolen here with my buddy, Mr. Barrett Dudley, to bring you the best TV shows and movies weekly in an easily digestible podcast packed with laughs. Barrett, we're back, and we're not in hazmat suits yet.
Not just yet. Yeah.
Not quite. We're casting in the nude still. We're not nude.
That's right. We are, now, of course, we are no longer going to have fans here at our...
in the arena.
In our podcast studio.
The live-in studio audience has had to dissipate due to health concerns with coronavirus, Barrett. And you and I no longer get to continue our tradition of spitting into each other's mouths when the episode ends.
That's correct.
Which is also a loss.
There was, I'm thinking about next week I might bring in some saran wrap just to cover this whole microphone with,
if anybody gets this, it's us.
For precautions. But as we just said off mic, the thing is, even when we all go into a 30-day lockdown.
Quarantine.
Which feels inevitable at this point.
Indeed.
Podcasts. Still available.
Listen, Barrett.
Netflix, HBO, all still humming, baby.
All our stuff we have prepared our whole lives for this.
That's right.
You're finding the best in television and film to entertain everyone during the inevitable quarantine.
Yeah. I mean, your real world, your stonks might be down.
Sure.
But our stonk is way up.
Oh, baby.
It's going way up.
The Clam Fam
to the moon, baby.
Clam Fam stonks have never been higher.
It's the moment we've been waiting for.
It is. Today we'll obviously be discussing the finale of The Outsiders' first season and the 8th episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm's 10th season. That is going to cover it all today. We obviously want to give The Outsider its due and proper, the season having wrapped and ended in the way it did, the fashion that it did. A lot to discuss. You are all well aware that we watch a lot of television and movies here at OCC, and if you're like me, you often like to do your viewing in bed, which brings us to our first sponsor. This episode of OCC is brought to you by Leesa. I routinely argue your mattress is the most important purchase you possibly make for your home, right there with your living room television. Your bed needs to be perfect. It needs to be the best. And Leesa makes only the best sleepy time products, mattresses, pillows, blankets. Everything they make is phenomenal. I've slept on the Hybrid by Leesa for years and years, up until the other night, where if you follow me on Instagram at WRBolin, you saw I got the new Leesa Legend mattress for my master bedroom. It was time. They've got the new Leesa Legend. I had to pull trig and see what it was all about. Now I'm there, and it's incredible. I love it. I've slept on it for 2 nights so far. It has gotten better both nights. It's the most comfortable bed in the world. The coolest thing about Leesa is it arrives to your door. You unbox it. In literally 5 minutes, it's ready for you to sleep on, and then in a day, it's freaking perfect. Leesa knows how important rest is to a better life. Leesa is the foundation of a healthier, happier you, and to Leesa, a bed is more than just a place to sleep. It's a place for relaxation and rest. All Leesa products have been thoughtfully designed to go beyond creating a comfortable bed to transform your bedroom into a sanctuary that you actually want to spend time in. I don't know what else I can say. They're the best beds in the world. You need one. If your bed is shitty, if you wake up every morning and you don't even know if you got good sleep, if you look at your mattress and you go, you could be better. It's time. Go to Leesa.com/dragon, Leesa.com/dragon, promo code DRAGON. You're going to get 15% off any mattress for a limited time at Leesa.com/dragon when you use that promo code. Leesa mattresses are made in the USA, and home delivery and setup is available. Financing is also available. Do not miss out. Clam Fam, live healthier, live happier, rest deeper. Order today. 15% off. Leesa.com/dragon, promo code DRAGON. Let's talk about what's coming in the month of March on Patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles. Barrett, hit me.
Yes, okay. We already have done one of these bad boys.
Top five.
Which was our top 5 actors right now.
This was one of my favorite hour combos we've ever had.
Yeah, it was great. It was a very good podcast. And I strongly suggest tuning in for that one if you're not already a member of our Patreon.
There's something about getting to say all the greats' names in like an hour period that just fills you up with the good stuff.
Plus, I think one of the things that we really learned for ourselves was just how many names are out there.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah, and how difficult it is to rank these guys.
To rank them, because it is tough. And
Did you get your
No, I'm going to post.
Up yet?
I'm going to post my G sheet for the Patreon members. I'm going to do that this afternoon. And,
can I explain for those who are unaware of that thing?
Yeah, sure.
So when we did this top 5, Barrett and I came in with very different methods, and we kind of ended up with these different reasonings for why we ranked the way we did. But Barrett actually had this incredible Excel sheet breakdown of how many actors are on this thing. You had a point system and shit. It was ridiculous. So he's going to share his Excel sheet or whatever you call it in some form on patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles for everybody on there in the Clam fam, Crustacean Nation and Mollusk Militia.
Yeah, just so you can see where everybody fell,
and how extensive it is.
How extensive it is, what rankings I gave for various people in various categories. So very, very interesting. Anyways, we've got that. That's available now.
We're going to do our throwback movie
and then
club.
We're going to do our throwback movie club tomorrow. We are watching Alex Garland's Ex Machina.
Ex Machina. Did you see this one in theaters?
I did see this in theaters.
What a movie!
Yeah,
what
really. This was a classic for me because in many ways, like the kind of the holy grail of movies that were like this for me was The Matrix, in that I went in having no real expectations other than like, I think this is kind of some type of sci-fi action-y movie.
Sure.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And then just like had my head exploded by what I saw on screen. Pretty much the same with Ex Machina. Had no idea what I was in for, except for that it was kind of like,
sci-fi
techie
thriller.
and thrillery. And
there's something to that.
And then I was just like, oh my God, this shit is nuts.
When movies do a good job of sort of like getting you in the door, but not giving you too much info. And Ex Machina was one of those where like just from the brief teaser or trailer or whatever I'd seen, I was like, oh yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
And then I didn't need much more. I didn't need to know like you, similarly, I went in with very little information about what was going to happen here. So as it was unfolding, I was like, holy shit, this is fucking dope. And it was sort of the first big movie in that, like, this past 10 years, 15 years or whatever, where we've really started to look at technology and where it's going to take us and AI and all the potential Terminator-like outcomes that are potentially possible. Ex Machina was the first one that really made me look at like the robot stuff like, oh, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah, and this is kind of the perfect movie to do right now for a couple of reasons. One is that Alex Garland's new miniseries called Devs on FX on Hulu has been released, which it's only 4 episodes, and I anticipate that we will cover that.
Oh, this looks hot.
We talked about it on a Patreon episode before. It's got Nick Offerman.
Yeah, he's got gnarly hair.
Cast against type, which is exciting for him. Mm-hmm. It looks really, really cool and interesting, and it was definitely one of the things that our Twitter followers out there in the Clam fam mentioned
when we said what now?
When we called for suggestions. Also, Ex Machina. No spoilers here, but there are some robots in it.
There are.
I'm just going to say that much.
It turns out
I've never seen it. And
robot related.
Westworld 3 is also about to start. And
this Sunday, man.
To the uninformed, Westworld also has robots. Did you know that?
I did.
Okay.
It turns out I know quite a bit about Westworld, and we're looking forward to covering it both here. Barrett and I will be discussing Westworld in probably shorter, more general terms, how we felt about the episode. Yeah. And then on Freeze All Motor Functions, Jared Borislow and I will be, of course, breaking down each episode in extreme detail in the same fashion that we did. Barrett and I did Game of Thrones here on OCC. So very much looking forward to Westworld, and yes, indeed, it does have robots. And also Aaron Paul.
No. Yeah. And just a great cast. Did you see all like the little promo, little just poster things that they put on Twitter?
Yeah.
And Instagram.
And that's the thing about this show.
It was interesting. I thought that was so interesting because the actors were pretty much out of character. They were just like dressed in like dope ass clothes.
Yeah, dude, it's almost
in front of like big white threes.
The thing about this show at this point is like they can fuck up the plot line, and I'm still gonna watch for the actors and the characters. Like they have so many good character actors in this show that are gonna bring me no matter what they do with the plot at this point.
Yeah, this is also just like it. Even if it's not good, it will be. We could compare it to Mike Bloomberg's Democratic candidacy and campaign.
And his memeage?
Where, like, he threw, $750 million at it, and it was just kind of a complete shit show.
It was tight, though.
That could very well happen for Westworld Season 3, because based on the trailer, I think they also spent $750 million on this season, and it could also be a complete shit show.
I cannot wait to see, because you're right. This is... Unlike almost any other show I've ever seen, at the end of season 2, they set themselves up where it was like, we can literally do whatever we want.
Yeah.
And they apparently did, because every trailer we've seen so far is like, we're in the real world, but also there might be a Nazi-themed park somewhere. Like, I don't even know what the fuck is going on. It's going to be chaos.
Yeah.
And how they can wrap everything we've even seen in the trailers into a 10-episode season is...
really...
good luck. I'm excited.
Westworld likes to not just like take a bite of a burger, they just like to stuff the entire burger in their mouth and see if they can chew it all and swallow it.
Yes, biting off like more than you can chew is not even doesn't even do justice.
Not in their
to
vocabulary.
What these people have done. Even in season 2, they were like, well, it's like the kid who just he can't stop going to the high dive. The regular diving board doesn't do it for him anymore. They just have to keep going as far as they can, and it really looks like they did that again with season 3. And I'm stoked to see how they managed to pull it off.
Anyways, so yes,
lots of faith in them. Though.
That's like you said, this Sunday. So we'll have our first few comments next week on our ad-based podcast. But you've got Ex Machina Throwback Movie Club. We're recording this week. Will be available very soon. Then this weekend, you and I are going to see The Hunt.
Finally, dude. Half a year we waited for this moment.
Could be the last time that we're allowed in a movie theater for the rest of 2020.
Not a bad point. That's problematic. We might be doing only throwback movie clubs moving forward.
Yeah. So we've got that going for us. We are going to a very, very, we love the Draft House here at Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, but we've signed up for the extra bonus footage, basically, where there is somebody conducting a live Q&A with the director and the cast immediately after this screening, and I'm stoked for that.
Do we get to yell shit at them?
We don't get to yell shit at them. I think it's like, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. I'm just imagining you and me somehow having badges. We won't.
No.
And then getting called on. We won't. That's not how any of this works. But yeah, no, we get to sit there and watch the director and the actors and shit, like take questions about the movie afterwards.
Yeah.
Which, considering the controversial nature of this film, should be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Because again, I would remind you, is the premise not liberal elites hunting conservatives on an island?
That's the premise. So yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Surely nothing
Betty
bad
Gilpin
will come
from
of this
Glow,
conversation.
one of the stars, and then Hilary Swank, who
the Swank Mama
is on my. She's I've tallied Hilary Swank on my women top 5.
Tally ho!
Which I think we'll probably do next month on Patreon.
Hot.
And do you know she has been nominated for 2 Academy Awards, Acting Academy Awards, won both times.
Swank?
Yeah. Now you don't get any bonus points. You don't get any bonus points for that on my chart on my sheet. But
one,
yeah,
the movie where she's a murderous prostitute.
Is that the one where she's also a boy?
Is it?
I don't know.
Mike says that wasn't a movie.
Murderous prostitute.
All right, which one? Okay, I'm thinking of $1 Million Baby.
Yes,
there's one.
Yeah.
What am I thinking of where one of these incredible A-list actresses transformed herself into a...
Boys Don't Cry?
No, not Boys Don't Cry. Forget it.
Boys Don't Cry is the other Hilary Swank.
Okay.
Award-winning film.
That's the other one she was won for.
Boys Don't Cry.
I haven't seen Boys Don't Cry.
I haven't either.
1999's Boys Don't Cry.
Yeah. Anyway, she is also starring in this movie, The Hunt. So
great. How'd they get there?
I don't know.
This is... She was just really into it, like, yeah, I'm down. Fucking let's murder some conservatives.
And I mean, lest we forget, this movie was co-written by Damon Lindelof and is produced by Michael Blum of Blumhouse Productions.
Very high quality individuals.
Yeah, which is like, he's the horror G at this point.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean.
He's a kingmaker out there.
Who knows what we're in for here, Barrett? I really don't.
I don't either, but I am excited to go and find out, and then we will be talking about it on Patreon, and then of course week 4 of Patreon hotline calls about whatever you want. Ex Machina, Westworld's first couple of episodes.
Yes, sir. Mollusk Militia,
The Hunt, Ex Machina, Outsider, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Anything we've watched.
Yeah,
and everything. Support us on patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles. In exchange, you'll get additional episodes, either 3 if you're in the Crustacean Nation, ad-free each month, or you can join the Mollusk Militia. You'll get 4, that 4th one being the Hotline Call Extravaganza each month, ad-free on patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles. Again, we thank all of you who have joined the Crustacean Nation or Mollusk Militia to support this podcast and keep things moving in the right direction so that Barrett and I can discuss all these shows and movies with you every week. Now, let's jump into The Outsiders finale.
Okay.
The 10th episode. let's start with how you felt about the closing as a whole. What did the season do for you when it was all said and done? Did you feel like they closed on a positive note? Because I'll say this for the reaction, Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to watch the episode in full until last night.
Mm-hmm.
And then I rewatched the last like 30 minutes this morning as well to kind of refresh myself.
Sure.
And what I noticed over the past couple of days, today's Wednesday that you and I are recording. This episode aired Sunday evening. I watched it Tuesday evening. What I noticed in that 48-hour-ish period was sort of a lack of buzz. Now, I don't know if that's in obviously, there's a lot going on right now. We've discussed some of it already. The coronavirus shit. There's a lot in the media. There's a lot to worry about, a lot to focus on. So it was difficult for me to get a feel about, are people hyped on the finale? Were people upset by the finale?
Yeah.
And then I will say this. I got one slip through the DMs of a motherfucker who said the Holly Gibney got scratched. So I knew about the post-credit scene, unfortunately, before I got to watch the episode.
Okay.
I was pleased with how little it played into my interpretation of the episode.
Yeah.
Because it was so out of left field.
Right.
Like, there's not a scene where we see Holly, like, maybe get scratched and then we're wondering the whole time. It's just sort of out of nowhere. They're like, oh, by the way, she has a fucking scratch on her arm.
Yeah.
Could be El Cuco.
Could be nothing.
Could be absolutely a dick tease.
I'm actually going to say that it's a total red herring.
It absolutely is to me, too.
That is just their way of saying, hey, yo, we're probably doing more of this.
And because would it make sense in any way, shape, or form to have Holly Gibney be the next Cuco?
The only thing that would make sense is if she and Ralph have to, like, team up again to, like,
figure out how
to stop the disease or something like that. But I don't think
think so either.
That makes less sense because Holly is such a good character. She's so good at at doing the detective work and being an interesting character that if you like sideline her and give her like hamper her abilities, that's I don't know. I feel like you might take away from the show.
I agree.
Anyways, my feeling overall, I had a lot of questions, about like, well, wait, what does this all mean? I thought it was good, not great. It was a fine end cap to the season. And as always with these things, it's like, the journey is usually far more exciting than the ending. And personally, I really liked the chemistry that Ralph and Holly like kind of ended up showing. And so I would love for these two to come back in, in these roles and like take on either another villain or continue hashing out like what this evil is.
Sure.
Was it weird that like all they had to do was walk into the cave and shoot El Cuco?
Literally address
it was a little weird.
Face to face.
But I also, based on what I read following the episode, it seemed like a lot of people took more concretely the fact that they had gotten rid of El Cuco. I did not take it that way.
No, I didn't either.
I thought it was pretty.
I don't think that
pretty
was
vague and kind of inconclusive.
Yes, especially considering the scratch scene. I think.
Sure.
Here's what that did for me, and let me sort of address like a lot of what you just said. Totally agree. Good, not great. Tone-wise, I thought it was a very good close. Mm-hmm. Tonally,
yeah.
It gave me. It was like it never took you to like that happy place, right? It wasn't like, and everything ends up great. The first 20 minutes are literally most of the characters being murdered with a sniper rifle.
Well, and just to speak to that quickly, we were a little bit surprised that they didn't do the whole like penultimate episode is kind of where the shit really
hits the
goes down, and then the finale is like the wrap up.
Right.
They kind of did that anyway because the first 12 minutes, by the way, incredibly intense, wildly intense.
And very graphic.
I sat down with food, started the episode, and basically had the plate frozen in my hand near my face for 12 minutes with my mouth open.
And then had to like just pause and go reheat it.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like it was the wrong show to try to have a little meal for
Barrett,
the first 10 minutes.
Turns out when you take a sniper rifle to the fucking head, it blows out the back, and they really wanted us to be aware of that. So we got about 120 shots of that fool's head just emptied, and I was like, this image will never leave my human brain.
Yeah, that was
can't possibly be good for me.
That was wonderful. But yeah, so they in the end they kind of did that because they wrapped that whole thing up there was the big intro, and then they face off with Kuko, and then the back half of the episode
is more what we
is
expect.
pretty much is that kind of like wrap up that is somewhat satisfying in ways and leaves you wanting a little bit in others.
Here's one of the things I took from this episode that I really liked about the way the season unfolded because of the way they were able to close it out. El Cuco and really all the questions about this season and the motives and everybody's different stuff, it became about more like El Cuco symbolizes like the things that drive us, that cause us to do what we do, that break us in particular, the things that drive us down, that put us in positions where we feel like we don't have a choice, a la Jack Hoskins or whatever. Hoskins, right?
Yeah.
And watching the way everyone was reacting to everything in this episode was so interesting. Like, because I became like, it's El Cuco is in places where he doesn't physically need to be. So you'd see him in the cave, and we've got our detective and Holly are going into the cave. Ralph and Holly are going into the cave, and then they'd show us these shots outside of the cave of like, one of the cops bent down on his knees with 3 bodies around him.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to you're like, why are they showing me this? Well, they're showing you this because El Cuco and the grief he causes and that grief eater mentality thing that we got so, in depth with the first few episodes of this season, you're still seeing that unfold. You're seeing people affected by grief, by loss, impacted by the bad things that happen to them in life and the way that they react to them. And that's sort of what it like came to symbolize. And like, even in the way that the conversation with El Cuco, it's almost as if this entity, this demonic presence, even it is not fully aware of what it is.
Yeah, which was very interesting. Yep.
Right?
That was I thought that was interesting for sure.
It gave it almost a human element, like I didn't choose this. This is it. This is just what I am. Are there more of me? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then his intrigue in that, like, I felt like there could be. And Ralph's like, shut the fuck up. But Ralph was also like, yes, season 2. At the same time, it's like, okay, what you got your setup there. Man, I just thought all this symbolism hit for me. It ended up that was the thing I was most worried about. Are they going to be able to tie off sort of like this dance we've done with cause and effect all season long?
Yeah.
And I thought they did a fine job.
Tell me about what you think about this read, because when they finish off, or at least temporarily sideline El Cuco,
yes,
they then decide that the best way to wrap this all up is by concocting a story that makes sense to
authorities,
to the authorities, and that will acquit both Claude and Terry Maitland of any wrongdoing.
Sure.
So they have to create this news story, and they leave all of the El Cuco stuff out of it. To me, I thought that was, in a way, allowing El Cuco to continue to live.
Right.
I thought that that was another piece of the whole thing, is that like
they needed to expose it.
Even when you face it, even when you learn what it is, you can't do anything about it because nobody else will believe it, and that's what allows it to like
thrive,
to sneak off and continue existing.
Yeah.
And I got big Voldemort vibes
for sure.
This
is why I had at no point was I like they relinquished El Cuco.
Yeah. How many times was Voldemort reduced to like a minuscule sliver of a spirit of something,
and then he'd regain
his like
strength,
able to attach or suck on to something else,
or like join the back of a dude's head,
and continue to live.
Yeah.
And it's like that's kind of the feeling that I got, is by letting the knowledge kind of drift off into the ether, and by not actually exposing it, it felt like that kind of that's another thing that gives the grief eater its power.
Yeah,
is that you can't really do anything about it because nobody will ever believe you.
Here's what I took from that: it is an element of life, an unavoidable, non-beatable essence of this human fucking walk. Right? Like, you don't beat death, you don't beat evil. It's a constant battle. It doesn't stop no matter what. And so each of these people sort of faced their demons in a way. And that, I'll say this, that was one of the complaints that I will levy. I didn't feel like it came full circle with Ralph's challenge, for instance. Ralph's challenges, Ralph's involvement in this case, Ralph with his son. And I thought we were going to get there when they're leaving the cave and he sees the two Bolton boys. I was like, oh, shit. We're going to start having some type of...
So those were not the two Bolton boys.
Oh, who were those two?
One of them was his son.
Shut the fuck up.
And one of them was the Frankie Peterson's brother. The kid he shot in the head.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, that is totally different read than I had.
It was...
I thought it was two of the Bolton
It was
kids.
not well executed.
Okay.
That was a weird piece of the puzzle that didn't really make much sense. Why was Ralph suddenly seeing them? Why was he able to see them? Why did they appear?
All I could take was that...
It almost made it seem like, like Ralph is like able to see dead people now? Is he like in contact with the spirit world?
So here was my takeaway. It was that
because he believes in the Cuckoo now?
His attempting to leave the cave and having that vision was evidence for him that El Cuco wasn't completely out, right?
Yeah,
like
right.
they're walking
That's what it
out
felt
like,
like.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he turns around and he says like, "You look at you playing possum." He's like, "You fucker! Like if you were all the way out, I wouldn't have just seen that shit." Basically,
Yeah.
and then he eventually takes the rock and smashes the head. But even then, it's like, I mean, my takeaway when he has to turn around at all wasn't, "Oh, El Cuco just needs a little head smash." It was, "You don't kill this."
Yeah. Well, and I even feel like Ralph speaks to that a little bit. He's like, I don't even know. Doesn't he even say, he's like, I don't even know
if you can be
killed.
He was like, I wasn't sure, but they keep trying to make points that it can. Oh, look, it's holding the railing, walking down the stairs. It's scared to fall. Mm-hmm. And then that sort of came into, like, it got tied in with El Cuco doesn't really know what El Cuco is. So maybe El Cuco just doesn't even know the rules about how, so it's trying to be careful, sure, and it needs to feed, and it wants to be powerful, and it needs to be strong. But it's still holding the railing on the way down the stairs and shit. So it speaks to this like uncertainty, right?
Did you have any, when Ralph does turn around, did you think that we were getting like a final Ralph flip twist? A little bit.
I was feeling like
I was like, I got a split second of like, oh my God, what's happening? What's happening? Is Ralph another Cuckoo? Is he the Cuckoo? And then the faces started changing, and I was like, is one of them going to be Ralph's face?
Yeah, it was.
I really thought that was the moment for a final
twist.
You know,
you remember
big
Jock and
twist.
Agar going down in Game of Thrones, and the faces keep changing, and eventually Arya sees her own face on him.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Like, oh, God. I kept waiting for that, and I also was freaking out because at that point, like I said, I had gotten that spoiler DM. Unfortunately, by the way, never ever, just don't ever DM me anything about anything ever we're watching ever. And when it changes, sort of like one of the first faces it starts to hit is Holly's, and it gets like that bottom right corner of her face.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, no, what does that mean? Is Holly the Cuckoo? What does that mean? And then it just kept shifting, and it was essentially like it was El Cuco's last attempt at affecting Ralph in a way that would keep him from being able to drop this rock on his head.
Right.
Didn't work out for him.
Yeah.
But all in all that sort of stuff played for me. Like, everybody, for Holly, she met this man that she connected with in a way that was perhaps different than any connection she's had with another human being. She was feeling some real love there, and he was taken from her. Everybody paid with stuff, right? Like, for fucking strip club guy, he loses his brother. By the way, just a horribly mishandled sniper situation there. Like, you've got one sniper, and y'all's strategy is to continue running around and giving him pot shots to fire off until there's like three of you left.
Howie, the lawyer, like, what was he even doing out there? He really...
He's just a turd out there. Homie is blown up in the car. Everything about this was horribly mishandled. We should have lost like one fucking person here.
Yeah.
Not five or three. That fucking ringing of the sniper, too. The first 15 minutes, bro, they put it on us.
Yeah. I also thought it was, it was fine. It was a decent decision, but very on the nose that Jack, who's been snake bitten all his life, gets bitten by a rattlesnake.
And then this fool comes out of the woods, fucking rattlesnakey, face all swolled up, which was also like it played with the El Cuco's face type of stuff too. And then we just had to see him eat the fucking rifle. God almighty, man. Yeah. Even Ralph was just like, Christ, do we need more violence? That was brutal. Man, I just thought the execution of that whole explanation for after it had unfolded, and they were like, "Here's what we have to do to clean this up." That sucked. That was the worst part of the whole season to me. Was it? And honestly, it wasn't bad. I just didn't care. I was like, clearly they're gonna have to do something here to sweep this under the rug. But what didn't hit. Remember throughout the season how they're just sort of back and forth about how to handle defeating El Cuco. The conclusion we come to is essentially you have to get people to believe in order to combat it at all. Like Ralph had to get fully on board. And the first question El Cuco asked Holly, how was it so easy for you to believe? That is the main problem for El Cuco, and I am going to guess entities similar to El Cuco, is if people believe, then it can be combated.
Right, yeah,
So
exactly.
it's the thing he's most concerned with is how did you believe so easily?
Yeah. Which, again, all that, I agree with all of that, and it speaks further to the fact that, like, that by not exposing him further to the general public and to the other authorities, you're giving him a pass there, basically.
And what was their argument? I mean, it was like, okay, so
basically that there wasn't enough there, that they knew how hard it was going to be to convince other people that what was happening here, and that the wins that they could take were clearing Terry Maitland's name and making sure that Claude was
good.
Was all good.
Yeah. Which felt
Yeah, I mean, but
clearing Terry. I get it. We needed to have the whole season was about showing Terry Maitland's innocence, right? That he didn't do this, basically, along with figuring out why and how this happened. So it was important to get that out there, but it just didn't feel like it was complete enough.
Yeah.
Like the Ralph's wife going and sitting with Mrs. Maitland, explaining to her like what they're doing, and Mrs. Maitland's just fully like, "Yep, let's go."
yeah, those stories really kind of tailed off towards the end. Just not enough time to wrap them all up.
Yeah, I was like, fine, I get it. Feed me the bullshit. Yeah. But all in all,
and I liked speaking to Holly's willingness to believe. I liked the question from Ralph about what else is out there, and what that kind of made me think of is that they have kind of flipped the roles here, and they're kind of like a Mulder Scully
right?
team.
Yeah,
Kind of
I like
X-Files-ish,
it. Right? No, that's a dope way of looking at it. Like I loved that they found a way to get themselves positioned for sort of moving away from this book and this one story about El Cuco, and perhaps positioning us where it's all about Ralph and Holly and them going and sort of trying to explain the unexplainable things about this world.
Well, and I mean, I don't know if you know this, but the truth is out there.
It is. Very much so. Yeah. I had a The Truth Is Out There poster for years and years, man. My dad was a huge X-Files fan. By the way, they revitalized that shit a couple years ago.
They did.
I watched
they did.
the whole goddamn new season.
Yeah. It was just one new season, right?
It was fun, though.
Yeah, I watched that too.
Yeah. I think they...
Oh, was it two?
Did they do another one? Yeah, two.
Well, how about that?
How about that? The Outsider, all in all, the main talking point this season, Barrett, remained the same, which was they could have done this much shorter. I stand by that. We all do.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like, just looking at the show as a whole, they really, and this was a concern that we had early as well, not just about the length, but they showed their hand so early. Which was fine. Like, I don't need every show to be a puzzle box, right?
Right.
Like I'm happy to see the cards early. Like that's almost refreshing in a way, since so many shows, right? Like keep it close to the vest for the entirety of a season. But that is what when you're going 10 episodes and we pretty much have this thing figured out for ourselves in episode 2.
It's problematic.
That leaves you with a lot of time to fill. And things that need to happen to kind of like hold the interest.
Yes, yeah, and
Right.
that was where it struggled. For
And
sure.
so they were kind of up and down on that piece of the chart.
To your point, though, and you said this earlier in the season, it was almost like, well, if we're setting ourselves up for that Scully Mulder type of vibe here, then they needed the 10-piece in place.
Yeah,
right.
yes, yeah.
We want to do these 10-episode seasons. Maybe this first one doesn't quite fit. But the writers or whatever for the next one will be different, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that played into it. Maybe not. Do you foresee many Emmy nominations for these people, for these folks?
Ooh. Yes, probably for Cynthia Erivo as Holly.
That's kind of maybe the only real.
That's probably the one. There.
Right? I would think so too.
I thought
perhaps
Ben Mendelsohn as Ralph was great.
Sure, but it was not a breakthrough performance for him.
Exactly, yeah, that's the thing. As we know, Ben Mendelsohn is really good.
He's fantastic. Yeah.
Once again, I just can't get over when he speaks in his native Australian accent, which is so like grungy
So
and like
different,
heavy.
bro. He talks completely differently.
It's really something.
Than every character I've seen him play, which is like, I'm not an actor, and anytime I've tried to hold an accent, like a fake accent, for more than like 20 seconds, it just becomes just the most botched abortion of a thing. And this dude is capable of doing it so well.
Yeah, if I go for more than like a few minutes on my British accent, it just eventually turns into an Italian one. I don't know why that happens, but
Nobody does. It's very hard to control these
and
things.
then if I go that one for a few more minutes, then it's just a pirate voice.
They devolve.
So, yeah.
Yeah. All in all, though, I ended up being pleased with the way this went. And Barrett, it was not with the going into the cave was scary because we've seen how Stephen King ends things in caves, as we said.
That's right.
And then it went the opposite direction of the way I expected. It was more reality based. El Cuco was this very physical entity that we could touch, feel, see, smash his head.
Sure.
He was confused. He doesn't even know what the fuck he is really, or at least he was playing it that way. I thought that was there wasn't more supernatural nonsense inserted.
That's right.
No fucking crazy flying or kids floating everywhere or clowns descending down into sewers. It was more concrete than I expected.
Yeah.
And I
Ralph
appreciated
said
that.
some mean things, but those mean things were not the weapon
Yes. Yeah. It didn't have
used
to be
kill El Cuco.
shout
he still
insults at
needed
him.
a big rock straight to the dome.
Indeed.
So that was,
Yes, all of that was very refreshing. I appreciated that it was more rooted in the physical reality of the world than some of the other Stephen King endings we've seen. So, all in all, hey, I thought it was a win for HBO, and apparently it did very well ratings-wise. And
Yeah, I think
people
it
are
did.
very much anticipating the season 2. They set themselves up very nicely for potentially a different sort of formula for season 2 almost, since we killed off most of the goddamn squad.
Yeah, and I mean, there is no Stephen King sequel. So they can go in, they kind of have a blank slate here to kind of do what they want.
Or they
with
can
the
have him write a book.
with a further season, or maybe he's got a sequel in the works. I expect that it's more of like they're going to do their own thing with it. But
I would hope so, but I saw multiple people being like, "This fool knocks out a few books a year. They're easily gonna have. They're gonna have him do at least the backbone, I would think, or the structure. I don't know. We'll see.
yeah,
We'll see.
We will see. Yeah, it was a good show. Do I think it'll make my top 5 at the end of the year? Probably not.
I don't think
Do I
so
think
either.
it was like a nice start to the year, something kind of
Yeah.
dark and wintry and good for the
Right? Good vibes for the weather.
for the weather? Yes.
Great cast.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
This episode of OCC is also brought to you by Liquid IV. Believe it or not, a lot of people end up more dehydrated in the winter months. Cold weather makes hydration more difficult, makes dehydration harder to spot. You're less likely to keep refilling your water bottles. If you're traveling, dehydration makes jet lag and headaches even worse. Thankfully, there's Liquid IV, the fastest, most efficient way to stay hydrated. Liquid IV has an easy, healthy fix for winter dehydration. 1 stick and 16 ounces of water hydrates you 2 to 3 times faster and more efficiently than water alone. Plus, you get the added bonus of vitamin C, B3, B5, B6, and B12. If you're dehydrated, try Liquid IV. It's the fastest, most efficient way to stay hydrated. I'm obsessed with it. I drink it every morning, oftentimes before or after yoga or a workout or playing basketball or whatever. They also have now their energy multiplier to go with their hydration multiplier. Phenomenal thing you can switch out for like that extra cup of coffee or whatever. Non-GMO, vegan, free of gluten, dairy, and soy. Clean ingredients, convenient TSA-friendly powder packs for travel, helps prevent jet lag and altitude sickness. How it works, cellular transport technology. It's called CTT, the optimal ratio of glucose, sodium, and potassium. It delivers water and nutrients into the bloodstream, the perfect balance to help you hydrate quickly and more effectively than water alone. 1 stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water can give as much hydration as 2 to 3 bottles of plain water. Exponential growth and hydration. Get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com. Use the code DRAGON at checkout. That's 25% off anything you order on Liquid IV's website, liquidiv.com. Promo code DRAGON, 25% off and better dehydration today. That's liquidiv.com, promo code DRAGON. Don't wait. Start properly hydrating today. Let's talk about Curb Your Enthusiasm. Season 10 episode. Was this 9?
This was 8.
8.
Two episodes left.
Oh, thank God. It wasn't the penultimate.
And
That would've
I will
been-
just
that would've been too
say
fast.
that I think think this one lands squarely as my number 2 episode of the season.
What's one?
The first one.
Okay.
And although, I don't think that the episode as a whole is a Pantheon top 5 Curb episode ever.
Okay.
Jon Hamm becoming Larry David is probably a top 5 like Curb moment.
I could not concur more strongly.
It was unbelievable. There was nobody better to pull this off than Jon Hamm.
How did that end up being the case?
He is so... and Jon Hamm is just a real treasure in general. And we knew this because he had such great appearances on 30 Rock and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. So we know that he's like this like classic, handsome, brooding leading man type from Mad Men. And then he is also hysterical. Like he can just
Bridesmaids character.
Bridesmaids, like get you a man that can do both. You know what I'm saying?
Him tweaking that titty is one of the funniest things I've ever seen, ever.
But just the glasses, and then when he goes on the date with Cheryl and says all the same things as Larry, it was just incredible.
The icing on the cake of him going on this coffee date to Mocha Joe's with Larry's ex-wife, having a full Larry, this is not a scone, this is a muffin moment, leading to him being happily ejected from the restaurant, I mean, was just so fucking brilliant, dude. And like, Jon Hamm's excitement for how fucking insane Larry is every time like something would start to derail and he'd get more and more psyched, like taking notes and shit, was so goddamn funny.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah. Him, every time he would get kicked out with Larry, he'd get excited. Huh? Should we go? Dude, everything, it was so, like, I completely agree with you. I don't know if this was like a... First of all, it's impossible for me with episode 1 of this season and this episode were both so good. They're both classic Curb episodes to me. This one, it absolutely, the Jon Hamm storyline in particular puts it in like, that's a top 3 Curb like storyline for me ever. Jon Hamm becoming Larry David was unreal. And the episode sits like, it's in a top 10 Curb episodes for me for sure.
It might be. It really might be.
Bro, I was like near tears in the coffee shop scene at the end. Like the way this one built toward Jon Hamm being Larry 2.0 was just ridiculous.
Also, at this point, I think that it is safe to assume that Larry and Jeff Schaffer are purposely pulling from Seinfeld archives now for stories.
Okay. Why do you say that?
Well, because the Gotta Go, that is George wanting to bring the chair for the security guard in the store.
Okay.
Like there are too many instances this season that like pretty much directly parallel a Seinfeld plotline to where now I just think that Larry was like, let's go back, pull some of the still relevant and classic Seinfeld storylines
and play with them
and just put a little tweak on them.
And I appreciate that.
all the bathroom stuff. George was George like, you know, he knew where the best public bathrooms were in the city.
Yeah. They've been playing with a lot of the classic Seinfeld elements.
Yes.
It's almost like it's stuff that he purposely went out of his way to not include the first several seasons that now they're like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's play with some of my favorite stuff again.
Larry inevitably pissing off women that he is either close to dating or dating and then not really caring about it because, you know, he'll get the next one. There's really been a lot of parallel and similarity there, which has been really funny. I mean,
I've surprised myself with how much I've enjoyed being able to sort of notice those moments, rather than being annoyed by them. And it's partially, I feel like it's like enough time has passed in Seinfeld, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
these are still funny bits.
We all miss Seinfeld vibes and bits, and he's putting them back in there for us. So.
Now I do have 2 questions for you. Just these are broader, more general, kind of real life questions.
Okay.
One. Who is getting coffee? I always walk by Starbucks at like 7:45 on an evening and wonder who the hell is going on coffee dates at night. What is this?
Do people drink decaf?
Are people just, decaf still has caffeine though, like a little bit.
Really?
Yeah. It's not completely decaffeinated. It's just
never
way
had
less
decaf.
Caffeine. I'm just I've got like a pretty
John and
strict, 2 to 3 p.m. That's like the cutoff for me in coffee.
Because if you fuck with it after that, you won't be able to sleep.
I won't be able to go to sleep. So it's really weird. Like, I don't know why that wasn't like a drink date. Like, hey, you want to go get a drink? You want to get a beer?
Yeah, because they needed to get in Mocha Joe's, but that's the
Oh,
only
that's
reason.
true. Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
They needed
that
the
being
Mocha
said,
Joes. Duh.
it is a thing that people do, and I don't know if it's like
Yeah.
some people are just such caffeine heads that it doesn't affect them like that. But like, bro, I'm with you. If I have coffee past like 2, it weirds my shit
I
out.
also feel like maybe it's more of if you are closer to like middle age, it's like, with no early ass morning job,
It's like fuck it.
then fuck it. Like, let's go have some coffee. Let's perk
Stay
up.
up till 2 and
Yeah.
sleep till 10.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Second thing, do we think newsstands like that still exist?
Maybe in New York.
They must. Well, yeah. So in New York, but L.A., that's not a walking city, man. That's a driving
Yeah.
city, like Houston and Austin.
I feel like he pulled that like sort of New York culture and just sort of forced it in for the episode.
I mean, I'm wondering, watching that, like maybe Larry lives next to one of these in L.A., and if so, it must be like the last remaining one
in the world, yeah, or in LA.
in L.A. That was just an interesting.
It'll be closed down this month
because we keep seeing him there.
because nobody's going to the newsstands, Barrett,
That's
and there's no goddamn browsing because of the coronavirus.
that's right. Definitely no browsing.
No browsing.
Now you're endangering your fellow citizens if you browse.
Might I add, we have hit the most peak time for Arrested Development no touching jokes in the history of humanity, which is really big for all of us.
That's huge for us as well. Like I said, our the OCC stonk is on its way up
shooting to the roof, baby.
to the moon.
Indeed.
Anyway, those were just a couple of questions just things I was like, about.
Yeah.
Because nobody who's getting news, who's going to a newsstand anymore these days, huh?
Sure. And that's one. Those are examples of like, and the further we get into the season, the less I care. When Larry forces in tropes, forces in things like, this isn't fit anymore, but fuck it. I don't care. Do whatever you need to do to make the jokes
Of
you
course,
want to make.
absolutely.
At this point, I do not give a fuck. Larry banging Cheryl's sister, who was from.
Oh God,
What's her name?
I've completely forgot about this part of the episode because John Hamm was so funny. But yes, Caitlin Olsen, D,
Yeah, D from Always Sunny.
Sweet D from Always Sunny, who I hate to comment on this, but I feel like I have to.
Oh, her face.
I think she's gotten one too many face fillers. Did you notice that?
The Hollywood folks, they can't stop. They can't. Once they get going,
Like,
they can't stop. Yeah, I
her
noticed.
face looked pretty puffy.
Maybe she was hungover as shit filming. I don't know.
I almost wondered if they had done that to like on purpose a little bit.
rough her up?
To rough her up.
To make her like a disheveled Cheryl, sort of.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know why they would have needed to really, or why she would have agreed to that. So I figured that like she just got.
Can you imagine being an actor or actress and people are speculating whether or not they made you look shittier for this particular role? I know it comes with a job or whatever, but it's like I felt the same thing. I was like, is she supposed to look busted and drunk?
Yeah.
Because she does.
Yeah.
Just being real. Sometimes I look like that. It's all right.
Yeah. Anyway,
And I'm not.
Something I noticed, and I've not stayed current on Always Sunny to the most recent season. So maybe if I had continued watching, you would have kind of like seen this happen over the course of time. But she's married to Mac, the guy that plays Mac.
I didn't know.
In
I'd
real life.
forgotten that. Okay.
So I don't know. It was just
Weird element of
just
the show.
just chill with all that. You don't need all that.
You don't,
Caitlin.
right? Nobody does. But I also, whatever makes you happy, fuck it.
Yeah.
The trope of Larry having given her his home, and now she's selling it, and now he wants his original investment back was like what did this happen with him? Did he give a house to somebody and then they were like, you know what, I'm going to sell it and all the money is mine? Because no one in the world would agree to that.
I think they just must have, maybe somewhere along the line they were having this debate about
How this would work.
I think the obvious answer is that you get your initial investment back, but you do not get the profits.
Yo, if I pay for something in full, and then I'm like, you can have this thing temporarily, or live in it. No?
That's different. That's like setting up a qualification that this is my house that I'm letting you live in.
So in this case, it was...
This is yours. We are giving you that. This is a gift.
Okay. But was that the impression you got, is that they gave it to her?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now they're arguing what should be done with the sale. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. But yeah. Also, just like, this is another example of like he puts these rich people problems. It's not even rich people, wealthy people problems into the show now, and I also appreciate that. Like I like to see the kind of shit that goes through Larry's billionaire mind on his weird fucking daily basis.
Well, and of course, like that as always with wealthy people, like they don't. It's funny when you start thinking about this. Wealthy people don't let the dimes slip by. Right. So Larry has hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever it is, and Cheryl tells him that her sister is selling the house, and he's like, "Oh, we make a little money." He's like excited to make, I don't know, $50,000. It's still that's classic. Like you said, that's like a wealthy person thing. Like it doesn't matter how much you're worth. Making a little money is making a little money.
And the ball game is different. The numbers are bigger, but it's the same game. Like, wealthy people have the same concerns and shit. It's just like where I'm worried about, like, I let you borrow my bike. Larry's like, I gave you a house.
Yeah.
I don't have a bike.
Last thing that I wanted to touch on was I felt mildly triggered by the whole the lampooning and spearing of saying, I appreciate it. I would appreciate it. Because around maybe like 5 years ago, I started doing I adopted the I appreciate it.
Okay.
Or much appreciated. Or I started like really tossing it in there instead of always just like thank you.
Yeah.
Always with the appreciated.
Okay. And then now they took you down.
And I got taken down here, and it made a lot of sense.
Barrett, this was a big problem for me as well. I was thinking about. I say this a lot. I really appreciate it, man. Like I say, instead of thank you, I say I appreciate it, or I appreciate you, or like appreciate it, or appreciate you. And that's like also like a hip hop thing too. Like appreciate you is very much like a Houston, like just from growing up in Houston, people say that to you all the time. Appreciate you. And so it's like. That takedown hurt for sure. Because now I'm going to notice it every time I say it. And I'm not qualifying anything. It's just how I say thank you, goddammit, Larry.
I think a lot of people must have done like we did and kind of adopted it as an alternate to just the kind of
standard
thank you. And over time, it must have kind of developed into this thing where people think it carries more weight.
Than a thank you.
Because it's not just that I'm thankful for you, but I am appreciative towards you, which I think ranks higher.
It's preemptive. It's almost like, can you do this thing for me? I really would appreciate it. Yeah. And then it's like you feel obligated because you want that appreciation.
Because you want the appreciation.
But you got to go do the thing for it. Yeah, so I felt that for sure. Now every time I say it, I'm going to feel like I'm putting that extra evil on somebody. You know? Like Mike, every day I say this shit to him.
But I loved Larry yelling at Jeff, trying to get him to go do the gotta go. Please, I would really appreciate it.
Just fucking sweats. Which that's not a new trope either. And that's the thing, they don't even have to fuck with new shit. It's like just give these characters the stuff that we've already joked about on other shows and stuff. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, once you're in your comfies, that's it, man.
It's over.
It's over.
That trope is from like King of Queens?
Is it?
Fucking a random King of Queens episode where the wife, once she's in sweats, he knows he's not getting sex. I mean, I watched that 15 years ago, bro, and I remember it. And I guarantee that wasn't the first use of it either. So it's like, that's just a funny thing to track, reoccurring shit like that.
Yeah.
Curb is going great. We got 2 more. I've been, as I was saying to Mike, off mic, before we started recording, every season of this show sort of like, it finds the ways to even out. You'll have an episode here or there where you're like, what the fuck was this, Larry? You fucking nut. But all in all, the seasons always sort of come to this like, they always round out. And they make you feel like all in all, the quality is just incredible. And we've already got our setup. We know Mocha Joe's, Latte Larry's is our climax conflict here. We've played with so much shit in between. You almost get the feeling there might be like a Seinfeld court case style scenario brewing where there's all these people who are so upset with Larry, like the newsstand guy being like, Larry! Like there's just so many people who he's fucking over this season that are like forming a line, of complaints. The mailman, the sister he banged, the fucking newsstand guy, like they're everywhere, these people. Ted Danson.
Oh! The waiting for the first class flight. That was Elaine stopping for jujubes on the way to see her boyfriend that got hit by the car.
Look at these parallels you're able to draw. You've watched too much Seinfeld, sir.
Yeah.
It's amazing though. Yeah, dude. He's just fucking with the threads that he already built.
That was another rich person problem too.
Uh-huh.
Don't want to fly if it's not first class.
Yeah, everyone watching is like,
Fuck you,
you
Larry.
serious, Larry? Suck my dick. He's like, anything in the first 4 rows? Dude, the show's
Dude, he's so
good.
good.
It's him. It's just Larry.
I've just been, as somebody that didn't love last season and in fact didn't finish it, I've been just so overwhelmingly joyed by how funny this season has been. I mean, this is the most, I cannot think of a modern, well, okay, I take that back. Veep made me laugh out loud.
Yeah.
But like to be able to sit on the couch and just be crunched over, what is that called? Gut laughing or whatever you do. I can't.
Belly laughing?
Belly laughing.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. It's just been great.
It's a rare thing.
Especially in these times, Ross.
In these trying
in
times.
In this economy.
In this economy, Barrett?
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So it's been nice. It's nice to laugh.
Feels good to smile and laugh together for these last couple weeks before we were all wearing hazmat suits and talking through megaphones out of our windows at each other.
Yeah.
You got any food over there? No, fuck off. Put your hazmat suit back on. All right. This episode of OCC is also brought to you by Quip, makers of the Quip electric toothbrush. They want you to know the one single discovery that matters most for your dental care. It is simply this: if you have good habits, you are good. That means brushing for 2 minutes twice a day, flossing regularly, no matter what brand you use. Quip makes that simple, starting with an electric toothbrush, refillable floss, and anti-cavity toothpaste. I have had and tried every toothbrush under the sun, folks. My teeth have had more money put into them than most. They are very important to me to take care of. And Quip is the best of the best of the best. It's not close. The 2-minute timer, the sonic vibrations with a built-in timer, the 30-second pulses to guide a full and even clean. Every time I finish brushing, I feel like I've just left the fucking dentist. It's a phenomenal toothbrush. The toothpaste is delicious. The floss dispenser, they've completely fucking reinvented this thing. It's incredible. Pre-marked string to help you use just enough so you're not sitting there pulling floss out of your ass. Love it. 3 million healthy mouths. Join them. Get Quip today, starting at $25. And if you go to getquip.com/dragon right now, you'll get your first refill for free. That's your first refill free at getquip.com/dragon. You know how your brush head gets all grungy and shitty over time? Quip, the new one's going to show up to your door. The new toothpaste as well when you're running out. Get in there, sign up, getquip.com/dragon. Quip, the good habits company. That will do it for today's episode of OCC. Huge thanks to our sponsors. Who all do we have? Quip, Liquid IV, Leesa, all huge. Go to liquidiv.com, use the code, what is it?
I've been going ham on my Liquid IV.
OCC or Dragon, always. It's one of the two.
Hydration is key.
It's so key. Leesa.com/dragon. Y'all know the codes. Quip, Leesa, Liquid IV. Support our sponsors. They support us. That's how we keep this thing rolling. Also, you can support us directly, as we mentioned at the top of the show, at patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles in exchange for more OCC ad-free. Every month, we did our top 5 living actors. The first week, we're doing our throwback movie club for Ex Machina. We're doing actual movie club for The Hunt. So stoked on those 2 movies to watch and discuss with y'all. And then, of course, the Hotline Call extravaganza at the end of the month. Follow us on Instagram at oysters, clams, cockles, twitter.com/clams and cockles, at clams and cockles on Twitter, and then facebook.com/oysters, clams, cockles. What else? As Barrett mentioned, season 3 of Westworld coming this Sunday, the premiere. We will be discussing briefly here on OCC, and we will be discussing in great detail on Freeze All Motor Functions. Mr. Jared Borislow, I am his co-host on Freeze All Motor Functions, also brought to you by Bolen Media. We're going to have a lot of fun there. Subscribe to Freeze All Motor Functions for Season 3 of Westworld, wherever you are listening to or watching Oysters, Clams, Cockles. I'm Ross Bolen. You can follow me at WR Bolen on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. You can listen to the Ross Bolen podcast wherever Oysters, Clams, and Cockles is available. It's a mental health, comedy, humor, animals, pirates, serial killers, and everyday life, depression, addiction, anxiety, substance abuse podcast where I talk about whatever the fuck I feel. The Ross Bolen podcast, again, available wherever OCC is available. Mr. Barrett, where can we follow you on social media and hear more of your beautiful voice?
Yeah, at Barrett Dudley, Instagram, Twitter. And then listen to Club Cool wherever you're listening to Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. Style and pop culture podcast that I usually host with my boy Phil Battaglia. And yeah, man.
Little known fact, Phil Battaglia was my big brother in my fraternity. Some people don't know that. Small man. Big brother, though.
That's what they say.
Ja feel? Until our next helping, adios, muchachos.